If you are a musician who is interested in creating AI vocals with amazing complex harmonies, this is the video for you. Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and the folks at AI Studios have done it again. Recently I shared about their recent update that added this amazing choir ability. It allows you to create very realistic and complex choral arrangements. It's just amazing. If you haven't seen that video, you gotta go back and look at it, even though we're gonna peek at the feature as part of this demo here, to share with you their latest update, which is their Bridge 2 plugin for your DAW. This allows you to work with AI Studio from directly within your DAW. They had an earlier version, it was okay, but what this one brings to the table is a freaking game changer if you love harmonies. If you're not familiar with AI Studio, get familiar with it. Its basic functionality is to take MIDI data and convert it into singing vocals complete with lyrics. You put in MIDI data, you put lyrics on it, you choose a voice, boom, you've got a singer. With the choir update, now you've got a choir filled with effects and placement on the stage and the whole thing. I'm not going to do a full AI Studio demo here because I've done it on a couple of videos already. I just want to show you the updates here, but basically what you need to know is there are several ways that you can bring data into AI Studio to convert it into singing vocals. You can import a MIDI file, you can record yourself singing right into the interface here, and it will convert your voice to MIDI data, and it will already know what the lyrics were based on what you sang. Pretty impressive, right? Or I can just drop a music audio file into the interface. I have the ability to split that into stems, pull the tempo information from the track, but also extract the vocal from that track, convert it to MIDI and lyrics, and then you can edit it and change out all the voices. So that's the basic functionality. And absolutely go check out at least the last couple of videos if this kind of thing interests you, so you can see how this thing can really shine. Today we're talking about their Bridge 2 VST plugin for your DAW. So if you are a musician and you write music and you'd like to be able to use AI generated vocals and you don't want to have to record them over here and then bring them over here, this allows you to work with projects in AI Studio just like another VST instrument. Let me show you what I'm talking about. To demonstrate, I'm in waveform free. You can use any DAW you like as long as it supports VST plugins. Here I'm just going to click the plus sign and choose the AI Bridge 2. If you see this pop up, which you may or may not depending on your DAW, you would just click through to add single plugin. And now you're going to click connect to AI Studio, assuming that you have it running. That's all there is to it. I'm starting here with AI Studio with a blank project. We're connected through the bridge with the DAW. This is the control panel, and it's super simple to use. If I want to just audition and work out what I'm going to be doing with AI, you can choose piano, and if you have a MIDI keyboard plugged in, then it's automatically loaded with a piano sound. This is not one of my VST instruments. This is just built into the plugin itself. When I'm ready to record over in AI Studio, I can just click the record button here. And then once I start recording in my DAW, it will also start recording in AI Studio. So it may be hard to see because this color is so light, but there's a switch here that says Polyphonic, and I've got that off for right now. Okay, so we've got our MIDI data up here, and if we pop on over to AI Studio, there it is right there. So, since we are still connected, if we want to hear the results of this in AI form, we go back to our control panel here and click on AI Vocal. Now, when we go back in our DAW and play it from the beginning, it will also play in AI. But keep in mind that AI Studio first has to render out these vocal files, so the way it works is the first time it sees it, it renders out the files and then it plays. So generally what you will do is you'll play it once through, you'll let it render, and then you'll have it. And if I play right now, you'll see that it's getting there, but we're not hearing anything. There it is. Now if we go back over to AI Studio and see what's going on, here it is here. And the singer can be chosen here, so I can change it out to this guy right here if I want to, and then go back, and then when we play it again, that's the essence of AI Studios, being able to change out these vocals or add multiple to them in the case of the choir. The lyrics themselves can be changed down here in this editing window. If we zoom in here, you'll see that each note has a word associated with it. I can actually just click on the first one here and change everything from da to boo, for example. I can just paste it in a word at a time, making sure in my head I've got it right. So boo, 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 boo. Pasted every single one of them. And now let's go back to our DAW, go back to the beginning and play it. And then if I want to change the tempo and make it faster, I can do that here, and it will be reflected over in AI. Now, of course, in ACE, I could go down and change the lengths of these and work on the consonants. Again, we cover that in another video, and I invite you to go watch that because what I'm really excited about is what I'm going to show you next. What I just demonstrated was just single notes. Remember, we turned off the polyphonic switch here. Now I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to go back into record mode. Let's take this down a little bit and let's record something else, but this time let's do something polyphonic. So now let's go see what happened in ACE. Boom! Multiple tracks, one for every voice automatically. This is insane because the last time I was doing the demo and I was showing you the choir feature to do harmonies, I recorded the polyphonic chord in the DAW and then I separated each one out into a separate track so I could bring it in here, and now it just happens. All of these voices are assigned with Robert at this time, but I can go in and change each and every one. But let's just see what it does here. Given that it's not going to sound perfect right now, anytime you input data into a program like this, it's about finessing it afterward. This is just a quick and easy way to get the raw data in, but let's see what it sounds like. Now, it's got to render several tracks here because there was a lot more notes, so it takes a little bit longer to do this. The reason we don't hear it is because we are connected still to the DAW and we are not in playback mode, we're in record mode. So all I have to do is click AI vocal. Let's go back to the beginning and preview it from here. And of course, we can add our own effects here, and there are also effects in ACE Studio. In this case, using the effects would be a little bit cumbersome because I would need to add the effect to each individual track, whereas the beauty of having the bridge is that now all of those tracks are controlled by this one channel, and I can apply my chain of effects to all the voices overall. Now, that may not be what you want, and you wouldn't have anything here, and you like the flexibility of having all of these different effects available for each track, which is totally understandable. My free version of Waveform has a very limited set of effects here in terms of reverb, but let's just put something in here to give it a little bit more life overall so I don't have to go through each individual track in ACE just for this particular demo. I think Deep in the Chasm will probably be a little extreme, but we can dial it down. Let me just hear. I gotta move it in the right place. Okay, I know people hate it when I do that, but you know, sorry, I had to do it. Maybe I'll just keep the effects clean so you can evaluate ACE on its own. But now here's the beauty. We've got all of these parts from bass to tenor all separated out here. So we can now turn these 8 voices into an entire choir, including adding female voices with their choir features. So now I've replaced all of those male voices with their Clara epic voice, which I also featured in a recent demo. And let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so now we've got a nice little group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 women singing together. So what if we wanted to make that more of a choir? Well, we would turn on choir mode, wouldn't we? We choose the track or tracks we want to turn into choir mode. Now, each of these is dealt with one at a time because you could break this up into bass, baritone, alto, tenor, however you want to do it. And then for each of those tracks, assign a group of voices that could sing together, and they're not necessarily the same one, so that it's just like a real choir. Let's take this lower track here, which as we can see is probably the lower end of the scale. Let's solo this and see what we've got here, because it may be more appropriate to change this to another voice depending on how it translated for this female voice. Sounded like a very guttural thing, so that's probably not the right octave for her, but maybe we could replace her, let's say, with Aaron and see what that sounds like. That's clearly not his register. So I really think Aaron isn't the right voice for this. He's clearly more of a tenor. Robert here is listed as a baritone. So let's put him in here and see if he sounds any better. Still, once we get out of that lower register, it sounds much better. Let's turn on choir mode and add a couple of more Roberts in the mix. And as I add them, you'll see that these dots are here to represent them, and I can move them all around the stage. So if I want the basses in the back, I can put them in the back, I can put them in the front, the side, you see what I'm saying? And also spread them apart with this slider here. And the offset is the variations in their voices, especially since it's three of the same voices singing the exact same data. If we don't put some spread in there, it's going to sound very weird and flat. So let's see how it sounds with a few of them here. Now, if you've got headphones on, you can hear the difference, the spaciousness, and again, I can move this around, previewing that in real time. So why don't we listen to that in the context of everything? In other words, I'll turn off solo. So now it's just about mixing. So please understand, this video was not about perfecting these pieces. It's about showing you how easy it is to get data into this program now, where something like this would have taken a lot longer to do, and now you can just play it on your keyboard, bring it in, and then it's just there. And by the way, you don't always have to play it live into Ace. You can just record it into your DAW like you normally do, and then once you have the take you want, once you're in record mode over here, you can simply play it back from your DAW, turn on AI vocal mode, go back to Ace, and you'll see that it's there. So it's a huge time saver. If this is your first exposure to Ace, do yourself a favor, go back and check out the last two videos on the subject here on this channel, because they have really done some amazing things in their past couple of updates. The quality of their voices has gotten much better, their choir mode is amazing, and now the ability to have your polyphonic data split out into the tracks automatically is just... If these are the types of tools you like to learn about, well then why not subscribe to this channel and binge watch everything? Because this is the type of thing we talk about all the time.